Welcome to Rise and Realign Conversations for the Sensitive Soul. I'm Melissa, and this space is for those of us who feel deeply, love fiercely, and sense the world in ways that are hard to explain but impossible to ignore. Here, we honor your sensitivity as a strength, not something to fix. Well, this week I am revisiting that highly sensitive series 9-part blog. Um, the last three episodes, I touched on the first three parts, which were on the mind series. And today we start with part four, the beginning of the body series. And the blog is called Your Body's Unique Response System. And I definitely wanted to share that, my own personal journey as a highly sensitive woman. I didn't become aware of this trait that um, my body has, right? This sensory processing sensitivity. Um, I didn't know about it. I didn't understand it. And in my early years, right? Like I certainly was aware of my own inner experiences. Again, just not knowing it under that umbrella understanding of having this sensory processing sensitivity where I feel things more deeply and take in, more stimuli um, than those who are not born with this innate survival strategy. And at 19, working in, again, a locked psychiatric hospital, I was learning how to, you know, read a pulse, right? How to check someone's pulse, how to understand, what might be what we call, a normal or healthy range, checking blood pressure, right? Again, ensuring that the individuals who were hospitalized, um, that their body, right, was handling um, either what medication they were taking or just what they were navigating in their own world, right? And I certainly got a glimpse of so many different things, right? Well, I won't go into it. There's just a lot, that we can learn by seeing other people's journeys, right? Because when we stay in our own world, our family, right, our culture, you see a lot of similarities, right? Um, but at 19, I certainly was learning how vast and how different people's experiences were from a mental health perspective, but also from a physical health perspective. And, um, my life always had health challenges in it. And that again was due to this level of sensitivity that I have that made medications more problematic than therapeutic for me. Removing organs was um, certainly not something that I can see now is an ideal approach. Um, but that's just my journey, my perspective. And I definitely learned a lot through, again, training in biological decoding, right? Understanding psychoneuroimmunology. And there's so many layers to our physical um, experiences, right? Our bodies and how they interact with sunlight and nature and our environments, right? But as far as a highly sensitive individual, I just really want to again remind you that there's this depth of processing, right? And I will continue to speak about that because that is the really core essential element of a highly sensitive individual. It's this depth of processing. So, like I said, in the mind series, we talked about thoughts, emotions, and how, like, often we can feel, right? When we think of thoughts, emotions, how it flows through every cell of our body, right? Like, so you may feel tension in your chest, right? Like, very common for women to feel tightness in the neck and in the shoulders, right? Especially because, you carry more sense of responsibility because of your, again, very strategic thinking and ability to navigate. Um, but what I really, really want to touch on today is about, again, your nervous system, the way it responds to the environment, right? The way it responds to your internal dialogue is something that's really important to really be with and understand, because in our culture we're often taught, to dismiss, physical sensations, messages, right? um because you feel them sooner than somebody who doesn't have this trait, again, because of that high sensitivity. You are sensing things before others. So it's just really important that you keep coming back to your sensitivity heightens your awareness of subtle signals, right? Sensing subtleties. That is part of being a highly sensitive woman. So, really tending to what this may be like, in your experience. And some of the things that show up, the common ones I mentioned, right? That muscle tension. Maybe you notice that your breathing patterns change. Again, these are subtle signs that you can tune into more easily and therefore notice things sooner. So I really encourage you to tune inward more to your body's sensations and communications, right? Your digestive system shifts, right? Your energy fluctuates. Your sleep patterns may be disrupted, right? I mean, a lot of times, I know for me, before I understood a lot of this, if I felt muscle tension, I would totally relate it to, well, what did I do? What did I do, right? Like, did I lift something heavy? Did something fall, right? Like, go to the physical reason for something happening, right? Or digestion. Well, what did I eat, right? Or is there some kind of germ, bug type thing going around, right? Or energy. Again, thinking like, or wondering, why am I feeling this way? And and of course sleep has just a whole slew of reasons why. But I really want to raise awareness to how approaching something from a physical only level is really missing a big chunk of, again, what it means to be a highly sensitive individual. There are so many factors at play that often go unnoticed. And again, reminding you that even though roughly 20 to 30% of this human population has this high sensitivity trait, right? And again, equal between males and females, which means that the professionals that we turn to for guidance and understanding, if they're not highly sensitive, then their curiosity may not be as deep, right, as seeing a professional who is highly sensitive. And yet there's still those of us who We don't know anything about this high sensitivity trait, right? And maybe other people, I'm sure, I know it's true, they approach it from different angles, right? Like, and there's different things that can be similar, right, in somebody's makeup in a sense, as being highly sensitive. But again, the real core of it is that you have this depth of processing because you can take in more stimuli, right? You can take in, um, again, and this is through all of your senses, more than roughly 80, 70 to 80% of the population. So, this is why it's really important, from my perspective, that you tune into you on a regular, consistent basis and trust your felt sense because you're the one receiving the communication. And again, we also are raised, differently, right? Like some people have already a very holistic approach to their body and any communication, right? Any disruption that they may be experiencing. Um, and certainly nature, right? Naturopathic physicians very much supporting that connection to what's natural and supportive and helpful to restoring balance into the body, right? Bringing harmony back. Um, and not everyone has access to a naturopathic physician or even really knows and understands what they do. I know for me, I didn't encounter a naturopathic physician until I was an adult, definitely after I realized that pharmaceuticals and medical interventions were harming more than helping. Um, and I went through my own, detoxing to, again, just clear out what wasn't supporting me. Um, and then I did. I started to work with a naturopathic physician, and they're all so unique in their training. There's so many varieties, right? That they can utilize to support your body. But it's truly something that I feel if I were to have a second career, you know, uh, it would definitely be as a naturopathic physician because it just resonates with me. It aligns with me, which probably, very much speaks to why I came into contact with Dr. Catherine Clinton, who's a naturopathic physician. And as soon as I took her first course, quantum biology for trauma, I was just like, yes, this is exactly, she's speaking my language. She's giving me the research that backs what my own intuition has been guiding me towards. So I definitely am an advocate for, finding the right naturopathic physician who can work with you as you discover your body and its messages, right? And I must say that when I was writing this highly sensitive series blog, I think I was just in the full quantum biology health training with Dr. Catherine Clinton. And I probably would have written this blog very different, after I got through all of her training because it's deep. And of course, that's what I love, being a highly sensitive individual. I definitely like deep dive. Like I really want to understand it at its core. And I really felt like, again, Dr. Catherine Clinton just brings all of this information together in such a beautiful way. Um, so back to your unique response system, right? As having a more finely tuned nervous system, right? Like it's really important that you are being attentive to your body's needs, right? because many have been conditioned away, right? Conditioned to ignore the signals, just maybe throwing some over the counter medication at it. Some people, turn to other substances. And some people are just kind of brushing it off like, I'll just work through it, right? And they're not really sitting with what is your body telling you, right? It is about um, that unique communication that you can have. So, really want to pause and let's just breathe together. Let's put one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly and just breathe in. Nice, deep inhale through your nose. Nice, slow exhale out your mouth. And again, just honoring your body, honoring your breath, and just being with yourself in this moment. And just allow that breath to continue for as long as you need. I often say, connecting with one breath is better than none. I'm a big fan of at least three, and more as long as it feels comfortable to you, right? Because not everyone feels comfortable taking slower, deeper, longer breaths. Oftentimes, that's because of the nervous system and the bracing patterns that develop as highly sensitive women. Again, because if we've been accustomed to ignoring the messages from our body, pushing aside, going to what's quickest, right? A medication prescribed or not, right? Like that's a way to disconnect from our body. And again, there's no blame because a lot of us were raised that's the way you treat the body, right? That you treat it like it's a machine. And you just keep pushing through. But I really invite you to connect with your body in a new way and really understand that it's communicating and it wants to be heard. It wants to bring harmony and it's always working to find that homeostasis, right? But there are reasons that we get recurring messages. And the medication does not give us the understanding of what the message is, right? So I'm just inviting you to consider your body your best friend. Consider your body as the one person that you are always with, always. It is your best friend for this lifetime. And the better care that you give, right? The better care you receive. And who else deserves the amount of love and kindness and compassion and care that you have as a sensitive woman? But you deserve it. I encourage you to breathe if that feels uneasy. I encourage you to allow any emotions that may be arising. Because that's not the easiest for us to hear if we've been in a pattern of pushing through, right? And that's what I'm finding with highly sensitive women, right? Like we have become so conditioned in a hypervigilant state almost, right? For different parts of our lives, right? There may have been more going on than our body could handle, our nervous system capacity, right? And so then it gets felt again in the tension, right? In the constricting, in the shallow breathing. And really, I mean, what this whole podcast is about is inviting you to rise up out of those old patterns, those old conditions that do not support you. You deserve to realign with your gifts, your beautiful sensitivity. This depth of processing gives you this depth of caring, right? This capacity to love. It's the most beautiful thing I have experienced. Love is, it's so hard to explain, right? And a lot of us take that for granted as well. So I guess today I'm talking about both, right? Like, allow yourself more moments to pause. And again, put one hand on your heart and the other on your belly and breathe, right? Take a break and breathe love, because that's who you are. The heart of who you are is love. And the more often you pause, connect with your breath, breathe in love, right? Breathe in love and exhale tension. Just letting it go. And just continue to allow yourself to breathe in love. Receive that. You deserve that. All the love within you that you so naturally give out to others, to your family members, to your friends, to your jobs, your careers, vocation, whatever word most aligns for what you um, are living through, like you want to be feeling it, receiving it, tapping into it yourself. Allow yourself to be connected with the love within you, with the amazing body that you have. I mean, the body is so incredible. I mean, I remember the first time I learned that my body was comprised of trillions of cells with individual consciousness, and that they're always working on my behalf to, again, right, bring homeostasis, to bring fluidity, right? And, that certainly came after a period where I did not understand my relationship with my body and was very angry that my body was uncooperative with my plans. Um, so I certainly honor wherever you are on your path. And I just invite you to soften, even just for a moment, to really breathe in, because there is love within you. There is an innate intelligence within your body that knows exactly what to do. And the more we listen, right, the more we start hearing the messages and communication from our body. And the more new possibilities open up for how we might approach our body and feeling more vitality, right? More energy to do the things that light you up. So, and just a reminder that honoring your sensitivity, it might look different from cultural expectations of productivity and constant availability. I know it did when I started doing it. And that can feel a little disorienting, right? If others don't understand. And sometimes that can bring up our own inner questioning, right? Like, is this really okay? Is this really smart? Right? But when you trust and respond to your body's needs, you're not just caring for yourself. You are modeling an important form of self respect for others, other women, other sensitive souls around you, right? It's it's a form of a permission slip, right? When we get the example that someone else is doing it, it's a reassuring feeling, right? Like, oh, right, I do deserve this. I can do this. So oftentimes, we're moving out of old conditioning and realigning with the truth of who we are. So, as a reminder, we are here together to rise, reclaim, remember. Where the heart leads, the body remembers, and the soul awakens. And, if what I'm sharing resonates with you and you're not already receiving my weekly Rise and Realign lunar letter, I invite you to visit realignwithmelissa.com/links, and you'll see everything there that you could sign up for. Um, I do offer a biannual, every equinox, the Realign Journey, which is an immersive and intimate gathering. And so the next one is beginning in March for the spring equinox. You are invited to join me for a moment to pause, a space to inquire. That will be on February 19th at 5 p.m. Pacific, and again on March 5th, 5 p.m. Pacific. And yeah, just continue, tune in, return to your breath every day, to your body, to what feels true for you. There's nothing you need to fix. So take good care of you. Much love and light.